In the 198th year of the Fourth Era, a young man of noble blood and solitary soul descends into a vile world of darkness and crime. The streets of High Rock, awash in violence and treachery, are dangerous for even the hardest men, and no place for a youth born to privilege. Used and left for dead by his former friend Lidway, and turned away in shame by his own influential father, this young man falls into the abyss of a black and brutal subterranean prison known as the Spike, and is forgotten. In the unspeakable horrors, he withers in despair until the darkness comes to him. Something unseen touches him, gently soothing his fear. The darkness becomes his truest companion. Words whispered in the black, hiding, waiting, growing in strength and swelling rage. Following a brutal and daring escape from the Spike, he flees to Skyrim, looking for the man who left him to die. And so the story of Fleet Featherstone begins. Erinyes Arcana, a dark and twisted tale of revenge and transformation.
It has been 9 months since the death of the Emperor, and how things have changed. How I have changed. I am Haldir. I was once a man of renown, a man of respect. Valued not for my lineage, but for my title, my power, and those with whom I associated. I was of the first order of battle mages in the service of High Rock's mighty royalty. I wielded power both political and military. I fought in the heights of the Reach, the high rocky plains soaked in blood and ravaged by the ceaseless wind. For long years did I toil on the battlefields and in back rooms of High Rock's nobility. I fought for them, but was never one of them. I was a son of Skyrim who found his fortune in the lands of the Breton. While I was never of their kind, however, I found knowledge and power in their halls and acceptance in their society. It was in High Rock that I nurtured deep friendships and discovered the connections of family I had never known as a child. Acceptance is a powerful narcotic, and under its influence it is easy to become callous to the human condition, ignoring the evil around us even as our hearts cry out in protest. When the day came that my eyes were opened, I was laid low by the horror of my surroundings. So long had I been complicit in the perversions of the ruling classes. Driven to despair, overcome by shame and remorse, I left behind the halls of High Rock, returning to the seclusion of Skyrim, the land of my youth. I left behind a legacy of both achievement and depravity, victory and excess, and found myself secluded in the silence of my forest home, as well as the bitter remorse of my own thoughts. It was as if I had done nothing of worth with my life. All the years poured into power and achievement now tainted, I wanted nothing so much as to forget. I wanted no credit for the life I had led. Little did I realize that at age 62, I had still to write the greatest chapter of my life, a chapter in which I was the witness, the chapter that would change the world, and that which I was born to put to paper.
Welcome, dear viewers, to CouchWarrior TV on YouTube. I am the CouchWarrior, and you're watching Erinyes Arcana, a Skyrim Let's Live. Let's take care of these guys. We're going to use a little Bend the Shadows, our old friend. Come on. Come on. Over here. There we go. Ooh. That was interesting. There we go. The first guy I hit turned around at the last minute, so I was not in sort of the orientation I was expecting when I came out of that spell. That was interesting. Well, dear viewers, I've missed you. Welcome again back to Erinyes Arcana. This is the first episode of Act 4. This is Chapter 18, Part 1, and I am entitling this chapter Antecedent. Antecedent is kind of a reference to the past or what came before. If you've been paying attention to the titles up to now, you know that we are kind of basing everything on this idea that we are 9 months past the death of the Emperor. Now, that is our anchor point. So the point at which we got to listen to Haldir's narration at the beginning of this episode, that was exactly 9 months after the events of episode 101. So, we have a 9-month gap, all right? And Chapter 18 is going to be all about filling in the details of what happened over those 9 months. There were a lot of things that Fleet did, a lot of things that he is taken care of during that time. Some of those things were carried out by Cimmerian, some by Empyrean, and we will be kind of explaining in Chapter 18 what happened during those 9 months, and everything will be anchored based on its time from the assassination of the Emperor. And don't worry, I will walk you through this as well. I know there was a time in this Let's Play where I swore off the idea of flashbacks, but I needed to take some leaps ahead in the story. It just seemed like the best way to handle some of the challenges I was facing. So we are going to be having flashback sequences. A lot of Chapter 18 is going to be really all flashback sequences, but everything will be anchored to its time from the assassination. And we're going to use the assassination as sort of our point of reference going forward so that nobody gets lost. And never fear, I will be here at all times, of course, to help guide you through what's going on so that there is no confusion. Everybody gets it. I am so happy to be back. I'm so happy to be talking to you right now, to be making this video. It's very exciting, and let's get to it. So we are in Blind Cliff Cavern right now, and this place is infested with Forsworn. I've got one down here. I'm going to try to flush him out. Right now I'm using Bend the Shadows. Ideally, if I could, I would like to use Bend the Shadows and get right in behind him, but he's tucked himself away here. If I were to use this, more than likely the spell would deposit me inside of a wall or outside the game space. It does that sometimes. There's clipping issues, so you have to be careful when you use that spell. So my thought is maybe we can flush him out some other way. I am still using the Fire and Ice Overhaul. Maybe if I go to spells and we'll use a fire spell, I'll start the inside of that hut on fire and drive him out, presumably with fire and smoke. If all else fails, we'll just jump down to the ground and draw him into combat. That is another sure way to get the job done. Let's see if this works. There we go, a little fire. There we go. Now it's got to be getting hot in there. Come on. He's going to force me to get down here. Alright, let's draw him out. We'll be our own bait. Come on. We back to Bend the Shadows. Surprise. Look at it, did it again. What was that? Here we go. choke him out. Now we proceed further into the cavern.
Brother, it is I, Empyrean. I have found my way into the embrace. It is no longer your secret alone. I wish to speak to you, but you choose not to embrace me this day. Why is that? Are we no longer kin? Do you no longer love your brother? Well, regardless, I know that you can hear me. Hear me when I say, you will not touch those that I love. You will not use them as leverage. They will not be pawns in your game. I know you, after all. Are we not linked? Hear me now, Cimmerian. There will be consequences, dire consequences, if you do not heed my warnings. I will take from you that which you value most.
I am back, dear viewers, and we are still in the bowels of Blind Cliff Cavern, which, of course, is infested with Forsworn, and I've found Forsworn to be particularly dangerous, primarily because there are a lot of Forsworn that are dual wielders, and they dish out a crap load of damage, so you have to be very careful. At least I do. We have not invested a lot in light armor skill, so that is kind of a problem, but it brings up a rather salient point, which is, what are we going to focus on for leveling? Now that we've gotten up to level 47, we're very quickly reaching that level 50 cap where things really start to slow down. So every point we invest in a perk is absolutely critical right now. My thought is that Act 4 is really going to be the story of defense. Really going to be the story of making sure that we have shored up our defensive capability, whether that is magic resistance or armor.
Is someone there?
Now, of course, we've been focused very heavily up to this point on the offensive capabilities of our assassin. Here she comes. Little ghost walk. Done. See if her friend will come down. Where is her friend?
Loss!
Let's loss her. Where are you? There she is. Okay, she's way up there. I don't think we have to worry quite yet. So I had considered the idea. Obviously, light armor is a great investment. Investing in levels of light armor is never going to be a waste because we're exclusively a light armor type of character build here. However, I had considered the idea of also investing in perks in alteration, in working my way up the right-hand side of that tree towards some of the magic resistance capabilities that were there. After really kind of evaluating and crunching the numbers, I came to the conclusion that that was going to be a waste of perk points for me. The main reason for that is that as a Breton, I have some natural magic resistance already, and in the game, there is a cap at 85%. I can never get more than 85% magic resistance. And given my natural Breton abilities to resist magic, I would reach that cap actually very quickly. All it would take is a couple of enchanted items, and we are obviously... Fleet has become an exceptional enchanter at this point. We haven't maxed out, but we're very close. So that just seemed like a waste of perk points. So my thought is that really I'm probably just going to focus my perk points on light armor perks, really trying to drive toward that capability in the light armor tree where you can kind of really enhance your stamina. So that seems like a great one for Fleet to pursue. So that's kind of the general plan. Wonder if I can hit her through the floorboards. Come on now. Stop. Stop. Just need her to stop. Where? Not if I kill you first. Come on. Kind of. Is she taking a shot at me? Oh, there she is. I actually hit her through the floorboards, I think. And again. Ha! She can't get her ice spikes through the floor, but I can get my arrows through there. That one didn't hit her. Okay, that's enough dicking around. I think I hit her twice. Ow. There we go. Alright. Took a little damage there. That's harsh. Magic resistance would have helped there, right? Now, the beautiful thing about magic resistance is that it's also going to help us against dragons, regardless of whether or not it's a frost breath weapon or a fire breath weapon. If it's magic, resist magic will help us. And resist magic is actually deducted from the damage first, and then that is followed by any resistance that we have to frost or fire. So I'm going to get, if I've got 100 points of breath weapon damage coming in, and I've got 85% resistance, if I've hit that cap, that's absolutely wonderful. It means I'm going to take 15 points of damage from that incoming 100 points of fire damage. Now, in addition to that, if I've stacked on top of that a potion or another enchanted item that is protecting me from fire or flame, then that gets stacked on top. So you can see how very quickly you can...
What was that?
There we go.
That's all you've got.
Broken neck. Very quickly, by stacking those things, you can mitigate that damage. So I'm going to focus on magic resistance from the enchanting angle, probably. And there are a couple of quest lines that will give me additional magic resistance. It's possible, if those actually work into the story, that we could pursue those as well. So that is the plan, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So we got another tower here. Now, Cimmerian, of course, he is on the hunt. He is looking for Haldir. If you remember, when we last saw Haldir, he was trying desperately to figure out what the situation was with this possession of Fleet. He thought it was a possession. We have since discovered that it is not. And Fleet has since been invested with a second soul, thanks to his mother, if you remember some of the events of Act 3. But also recall that those events happened after Fleet and Haldir were separated. So Haldir has no idea of what has transpired with Fleet's mother, any of those encounters. Haldir has been insulated from all that stuff because he has been basically in hiding and doing some research to see if he can find a way to permanently separate this entity he refers to as Cimmerian, the entity, from Fleet's body. So he's treating this still as a possession. Now, presumably, he has come up with a solution because he has, according to their plan, summoned Fleet to this location by performing the Black Sacrament. So Haldir is waiting patiently for Fleet or Cimmerian to arrive. At this point, he really doesn't know who's going to show up. This really, I can't get in this. This must be the exit. So I'm just going to ignore that. And I'd say let's proceed into Blind Cliff Cave proper. Let's see what is up.
As I stood in the cavern, I contemplated my life. The triumphs, the regrets, the failures. I failed Fleet once, and I would not again, regardless of who he was. Even as I performed the Black Sacrament, it occurred to me that with this act I might be cutting my own throat. But I was ready. I was ready to do whatever it took to set things right. I was betting everything on Melka. I had known her in days gone by as the most powerful sorceress I had ever met. My hope was that even after her dark transformation, she might still remember me and agree to help. If anyone could divine the origin and the remedy to the illness of spirit that afflicted him, it would be her. To my relief, she agreed to help. I did not hear him enter the barrow. He simply appeared. I had known that there was a chance that Cimmerian would be the one to answer the call, and there was no mistake that it was he who I faced. To my surprise, he made no move for his blades, but simply strode straight up to me and studied my face with one gleaming eye from behind that mask. The silence seemed to linger like smoke, until finally I could bear it no longer. "Are you here to kill me?"
I will not kill you, old man. I have made a promise.
"A promise? To whom?"
To my dear brother, of course.
"How is that possible? That would require you to speak to one another, would it not?"
The world has changed since we last had words, old man. I am my own man, and he his. We have our own thoughts, our own secrets.
How is this possible? One cannot simply split one's soul. Even the most powerful magics cannot do this. It is impossible.
The mighty Haldir finds himself baffled. How sad. No souls were split, but rather a second was added.
A second soul? But how? Who could do this?
Perhaps you should ask my brother when next you see him. I'm sure he would love to prattle on and on about it, but I'm bored. Let us leave.
We cannot. I have promised our help to Lady Melka. We were to help her in exchange for her assistance with your condition. We must keep this promise.
Very well. Let us do this quickly. I have more important things to attend to.
You may want to consider taking time to speak with her. She has unique talents, and she may be able to shed light on your situation. If I may ask, what promise did you make to your brother?
I promised him I would not kill you.
Oh, yes, well, this is good. But why make a promise to him at all? You have always done what you like. Why would this change now?
He threatened to take something from me that I dearly need. I was compelled to make a pact with him. If the choice were mine, old man, you'd be hanging by your own intestines already, but I fear no one gets what they want in this life. Least of all, Cimmerian.
gods watch over your battles, friend. Lead on, then.
I'm back, dear viewers. And it appears that it is time for us to help Melka. Melka apparently is a hag raven. And strangely, a friend of Haldir. Apparently they had some sort of relationship back before she became a hag raven. And she has tried to help Haldir in sort of a consultation to figure out what is going on with our protagonist fleet. And now we are obligated to help Melka destroy her sister Petra. The assumption here is that they are fighting for control of this coven. So we are going to do that. I'm going to have Haldir wait here so that when I trigger this thing and all the poison darts come flying out, I don't kill him. And here is Melka. Why is he not waiting?
Petra, curse her eyes.
Curse her eyes. She hates her sister. Okay, so let's see. Is this just random? If it's just random, I'm going for the middle one. Middle. Hey, that worked out great. All right, let's follow her.
Careful here. There's a trick to this. The trick is to not bleed to death.
The trick is not to bleed to death. I love it. Okay, what is she going to do here? Is she opening it, or do I have to open it? Oh, she just stopped the trap. Okay. Wow. Where's the fire, Melka? So, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to mention to you that there are a couple of new things that we're doing in Act 4 that will be fairly consistent throughout the episodes. One is that we're introducing a new voice, which is a narrator. And the narrator is the voice we heard at the very beginning of this episode that gave us a little bit of the background story that we have come to know so well for Fleet.
No finer place to boil eyes, no.
And then also, Matt will be doing the voice of Haldir from this point onward, and Haldir will play an interesting role. He will be kind of like a narrator, but he will also be a participant in the story as well. Here he comes. Let's do this. Done. So I just wanted to make that clear to you. Haldir, from this point on, is voiced by Matt exclusively. He will also be doing the narration pieces, and then probably some bit parts here and there as well. The rest of that work will be done by me. Commentary always by me. I will continue to voice the other characters that I have. Haldir being the exception. But Haldir seemed like a great candidate for this, just because he's always been that outside observer, that analytical person who kind of has a different perspective on everything. So it seemed to me that having him speak most consistently on Fleet and his situation would be great. How do I get these? I thought maybe I had telekinesis. I wonder if I could get him with telekinesis. I thought I had that. I guess not. So anyway, Haldir, Matt, going forward. And we will probably hear something from Haldir in most episodes. Not all, but most. Now, the other thing that's interesting to mention here is a while back, of course, we released a lounge episode kind of describing what we were doing in Act 4. One of the things I had mentioned is that we still have some footage that we're going to go through recorded on the old hardware. This is one of those episodes, so what you're seeing here is footage that I recorded on the hardware that I have done all of Act 3 and most of Act 2 in. Okay, what's going on here? Oh, they're fighting already. Come on. Now, how do I tell them apart? Okay. Let us go to the crossbow. I gotta make sure I hit the right one, though. Should I guess? Oh yeah, that's Petra. That's Petra. She's kind of trapped behind this ice, so she's a sitting duck. Well, Milka did the job. Well, we got a couple shots in. Let's wrap this up.
My pretty tower.
Yeah, it's terrific. You have your tower back. I expect a reward.
Take it. Kill something pretty with it.
Wow, she is creepy. In an endearing sort of way, of course. In a motherly sort of way. Is there such a thing? Okay. We're going to go through this chamber and look for stuff, and then there must be a door that I missed that'll let me go in and get those other items. We'll go back and hunt for those. Make sure we've got all the loot. I'm going to have to melt some of this ice to even get up the ramp. Again, this is the Fire and Ice Overhaul mod at work here, which I absolutely love. It's awesome. Highly recommend it for those of you playing on the PC. Fire and Ice Overhaul. It completely changes the dragon battle experience, for example. When the dragons come after you and they box you in or they start the forest on fire, that is a huge problem. But it's totally realistic. Now look at this. I'm starting the place on fire. But it totally makes sense. So I just love it. Creates problems. The other thing that I discovered as well is that lightning strikes can start fires as well. So using lightning spells, shock spells can start the surrounding forest on fire. That is a problem as well. So you got to be careful. But it's totally worth it. All right, let's get some light going here. Gross. So, really for me, these episodes of Erinyes Arcana are about the story. So I'm going to try, as much as I can anyway, to focus on the story, to focus on the commentary and our gameplay. And there is a ton of information that I need to relay to you viewers about things that are coming up, changes in the channel, all that stuff. I'm going to really try to reserve that content for lounge episodes so that we don't kind of gum up all of our story with channel updates. So if you have questions, go ahead and place them in the comments for these videos. I'm going to catalog those questions and we will address them in lounge episodes. And the lounge episodes are going to be very much like the one that we just released, episode 2 of the lounge. Very conversational, kind of roundtable discussions between Matt and I and whomever else about what's going on with the channel, about role play, about the story, about special things that we're doing to help benefit the channel and the story and you viewers. We've got some kind of cool things that we're going to be announcing over the coming weeks and months to kind of give back to the viewers a little bit for all the support we've gotten from you. All right. I think I've exhausted this chamber, so there's got to be a secret door somewhere. Where would it be? I'm so lousy at this. I think it's because I'm impatient. I don't like looking around. I don't like it when I have to use like whirlwind sprint shouts to jump between rocks to get at some hidden chest with 2 gold pieces in it. I've gone through that before and been rewarded with a gift of 2 gold pieces after making 3 or 4 consecutive attempts to make it to some remote platform with whirlwind sprint, and it's annoying to me, so, and it seems out of character. So the word of the day really is immersion for me, and so I'm trying to think like the character would. It's great to gather up. It's great to gather up loot. It can be used to finance the operation, to finance the next battle or the next trip or the next expedition. However, at the same time, I have to think about, what lengths would Cimmerian actually go to get the 2 gold pieces that are in the chest on the top of the thing with the other thing. I have to think about that. And so there are many times when viewers have told me, oh, you missed this or you skipped that. Most of the time I recognize that I'm skipping some loot, but I'm kind of doing it because I'm just thinking, I don't know. Is he gonna reach his arm into every frickin' urn in the barrow to make sure he's got every last gold piece? I don't know about that. So I don't concern myself with it too much. Try to focus on the story, and all else will come. Okay. But this is annoying me because I can see the treasure there. I know it's there. I just got to figure out how to get in. I missed something. What did I miss? What did I miss? Nuts. It's got to be a lever or a... Wait. Here we go. Right here. Well, that wasn't so bad. Even I can find this one. Well, I can't tell you what a joy it's been to have another adventure with you, dear viewers. But it is time to bring this one to a close. And I would like to thank you all for taking the journey with me. And may all that you do be swift, silent, and deadly. And to all Skyrim assassins, I salute you. Silence is our battle cry.
Cimmerian did not seem at all shocked to discover that Melka was a Hagraven, and he made short work of her treacherous sister Petra more quickly than I would have thought. As we fought our way through the barrow, I noticed Melka studying him intently. She seemed to watch every move he made, and Cimmerian appeared completely oblivious to the attention. When Petra finally lay dead, she drew him close and began to speak softly to him. I tried to appear busy, but strained to hear what they were speaking about. Melka's eyes never wavered from his face, and she called him the Covenant made flesh. Cimmerian did not react in any way to this title. She mentioned something about Sithis not being a god, but rather an idea, and that Fleet was the walking incarnation of that idea. What she said next was puzzling, and I confess I could not hear all of it. But she told him he must find his patron, and that his mind and body were as white-hot steel, and each of the divines were allowed one swing of the hammer. I have spent days thinking about the things she said, and wondering what critical pieces of information I missed. Melka saw something in him I cannot see. I am an analytical man, and not a practitioner of mysticism, and perhaps it is this which blinds me to all of this. I must understand what is happening to him if I am to help. How is it that they can no longer read each other's thoughts or emotions? Can this be true? What does it mean for his future? The future of Skyrim?